Listening to Cross Rhythms, this is Community Matters, and my guest in the studio today, who's been in the studio with us a couple of times in the past, Jaroslava Hurtikova from Citizens Advice. Hi, Jaroslava.
Hello.
It's good to have you with us again, and I know you're feeling a little bit under the weather, aren't you, yourself at the minute, yeah? So, and I haven't slept for a couple of days, it feels like. It's not actually been that bad. So this might be a really relaxed and chilled interview, everybody. But at least we've got a professional who knows what she's talking about. So Jaroslava, thanks for coming in. It's
my pleasure.
Good to see you again. Let's just jump straight into it. You're the campaigns and research manager at Citizens Advice, aren't you? What does that job entail? Because that sounds huge.
That job is huge. Yeah, you're right. So I would call myself sometimes a girl for everything. So Citizens Advice has two aims. So one aim is to provide advice and help people to find a right way forward. And second aim of Citizens Advice is to campaign on big social policy issues. And this is where my role comes to play. So under this role, I look at why people are coming to us, what is causing their problems. So I try to identify the root cause of their problems, and then based on our findings, try to find a solution and talk to local decision makers, run different awareness campaigns, and try to improve policies and practices that don't work for our people locally and nationally. And also under this role, my team also covers social media, website. We talk to press. We've read press releases in Plymouth Herald, and we talk to also radio stations and design different posters. So yeah, literally just encompasses so many different roles in one.
I would think that campaigning side of Citizens Advice might be the part that people don't really know about, because people would see Citizens Advice because of the name. Oh, that's where I can go and get advice. So do you lobby government? Do you get involved in really trying to change policy?
There are different ways how we can do that. So I can talk to politicians on a local level. So for example, I can have a meeting with councillors at Plymouth City Council and talk to them about the issue and ask them to raise it with the government. I regularly meet also with local MPs and raise any issues with them, so they can also kind of discuss it in the government or in Parliament. And then everything what we do is also fed to the national team. So any intelligence we have, I can send to the national team, and then they can talk to ministers or just attend different committees and use our intelligence as well. So we've been part of quite big campaigns. So for example, a couple of years ago, I worked on a universal credit project under which we managed to change the number of deductions, or the amount of deductions taken from universal credit. DWP opened a new telephone helpline for our advisors. So if we assist with non-digital claims, so it's when we assist with digital claims on universal credit, we have special access to the DWP services. And the last one was where we opened that option to clients, because before universal credit worked mainly, it must be a digital, but we also lobbied so people can have the other option if they're unable to manage their claim online.
There must be a fair few of those. I know Plymouth's got at least 10 or 12,000, maybe more people that are digitally not connected, let alone digitally poor. So those figures must be represented in other parts of the country. So people not having digital options would be a major hurdle.
It can be more like in those rural areas. When people don't have good connection, they must stay online for a longer period of time. And then they don't have those digital skills. Also access to SIM cards or having access to internet can be quite difficult, and particularly now when those bundles you can get from providers are quite expensive. Not many people know that they can also ask for social tariffs.
Oh, okay. What is social tariffs?
So social tariff is that, for example, water companies or comms providers have for their internet and telephone lines or mobile phones. And if someone can't afford to pay the standard rate, they can go to the provider and ask for a social tariff if they are claiming any benefits or pension credit. So you can go to Ofcom's website and you can find a list of providers that offer these services. And you are not obliged by the contract to continue. They're obliged to transfer you if you ask for a social tariff to social tariff. And then prices start at like £10 a month for basic internet.
Wow. Well, that's super helpful for a lot of people. And I didn't know about that. And
Didn't you?
I didn't know about that. And I'm involved in a few different things where I should know about that. So that's really good to hear. So information like that, can people access and find out about that from your website or by dropping into Citizens Advice? How would it work?
We don't have information about social tariffs on our website. However, if you come through our telephone helpline or come to our walking centre in Coburg House, I'm sure our advisors would talk to you about these options, and they would explore what's affordable and what you can do to manage your financial budgets better.
Yeah. Because that's often the things that people don't know what they should be asking for because they don't know what's available. So having Citizens Advice like drop in and just say what your needs are and someone who knows can maybe help you, absolute gold, really important.
Yeah.
Jaroslava, what was it? We'll take a break for some music if that's okay. I've got a track queued up and we'll come back and hear some more. We're going to talk about all kinds of things. We're going to talk about scams. We're going to talk about 2-child limit, and we're going to talk about the way that benefits are affected by that, and perhaps about micro-volunteering as we go through. And we'll give all the details on how people can contact you and where the drop-in or where the walk-in is on Coburg Street. So we're back with Jaroslava right after this. Jaroslava, I've learned something there about the social tariff for phones and internet and how that can save. I mean, you say £10 a month instead of £40 a month is a huge saving, isn't it? You're looking £360 a year. That's significant. That's really helpful. So that and other things, we'll give out the contact details, how people can get in touch with the Citizens Advice as we go through the programme. Coburg House, I guess, is first port of call for a physical walk-in, which is Coburg House on Coburg Street, isn't it? I mean, I'm pretty sure.
It's a Mayflower Street.
Mayflower Street. It's on the corner.
It's a street where Sainsbury's and Wilkinson, so we're at the beginning of the street.
Got it.
We took a lease after Anglian Windows. So if someone knows Anglian Windows, we have a walking centre on the ground floor, and it's open from 9:30 until 4 p.m.
I'm just remembering where you are now. That for people of my age and not that much younger will remember that as the old job centre back in the day. That was where the job centre used to be. And I have tales from the job centre. That anyway, let's not go there. Citizens Advice, let's get back to the plot, Jaroslava. You've talked to me off air and we've had a little bit of conversation, and budgets are happening as we record. So things may be changing. Things are certainly hard times financially for people. 2-child limit. It was a mystery to me, but can you, explain a bit more about that? Because that's actually a genuine concern for folks at the moment, isn't it, as far as benefits are concerned?
2-child limit has been in press quite a lot recently, and not everyone knows what it means, and sometimes press sends like different messages because they keep talking about 2-child limit benefit cap, and many people don't know how it can impact them. And I think it would be good to talk about 3 terms. So first, it's to explain what's 2-child limit. So 2-child limit is a policy that was introduced in 2017, and it affects people who are claiming child tax credits and a child element of universal credit, and they had 3rd or more children born after the April 2017. So it means if you had multiple children born before the April 2017, you may not be impacted. And this policy was created by the government to kind of to force people to make decisions the same way as people would be making like when they're in full-time work. So they will decide like whether it's sustainable to have multiple children. So we've done a lot of research about it, and we found out that not many people think about this policy when they consider having many children. And therefore we talk to families who decided to have multiple children, and then suddenly they had unexpected change of circumstances, and they are severely impacted by this policy.
Yeah.
Because they get money only on first 2 children, and the rest of children will not get money. So it means the whole family budget is much lower, and the money towards children must be distributed in a small amount. But this is also different because when you have children, you can get child benefit, and the child benefit is not impacted by the number of children you have, but it's impacted by your wages. So I think, if I remember correctly, it was like the couple or person can make more than £50,000 a year to get contribution towards their children through child benefit. So you should be claiming child benefit if you have multiple children. If you are not, please come to us and we can calculate whether you are entitled to getting child benefit for your children, and we can support you or explain how to make the application.
So the 2-child limit isn't affecting child benefit, but it is affecting a range of other things.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole backstory. We could go really deep on the ethics and the philosophy behind the 2-child limit, but probably best let that go to a different show. Let's deal with how we can help people, how people can get advice from you guys. Are you seeing a lot of people confused by this coming to you for help, or people not understanding it and missing out on things?
I think this year, because it's been such a discussed thing, we see more people impacted by this policy. But sometimes we don't know about this. If people come to us with different issues, for example, if it's not about money and they benefits entitlement, we would not know whether they're impacted by the policy, so we would not explore it. But at the moment, we do have a project with Plymouth University. So earlier this year, we got a funding through Get Involved Awards, where we applied for funding towards the 2-child limit research, and we work with Plymouth University researchers to look how the policy impacts families in Plymouth, and with main focus on children. So it means like whether they could be disadvantaged in the future.
And that's really, I mean, so let's get to that, but let's bridge to that with this. I was talking with John Hamlin from Shekinah a couple of weeks ago, and we tackled the thorny issue. People say, oh, homelessness or living in a van is a lifestyle choice. And John made the point, nobody at the age of 8 was saying, when I grow up, I want to live in a van and have no money. It wasn't a lifestyle choice then. There are then circumstances and things that lead to that. And when we spoke off air, you gave me an example of somebody who had, who was a single mum now, had a number of children, but was prior to that in a very stable relationship with the same father of those children. Then circumstances changed. I think that was a great example that helps us to have, I think those things unlock the compassion in our hearts rather than thinking, oh, people shouldn't have so many kids. Because that seems to be a bit of a fiction, really. You shouldn't have, or not. Then, I mean, what could you go over that story again without breaking any confidentiality?
Yeah, I'll do my best. But yeah, what I would say, sometimes, when you plan your family, you don't look like towards the future like something could change. You feel like you are in a stable relationship, and often we speak to lone parents who are impacted by these policies, and majority of these people are at work, so they do have at least some sort of work. And being a parent sometimes comes being like a full-time job. If you are mother or father of multiple children and of different age, you must split your work time into doing school runs, going to different clubs if you can afford to go different clubs. But not everyone, just thinks about the policy, thinks about future, how it could affect them. And through this research with Plymouth University, we spoke to, I'll create a name. I will call her Amelia. I spoke to Amelia, and she was in very stable relationship, and they had multiple children, but suddenly things changed, and the relationship ended this year. So this means that Amelia just ended up looking after her 8 children by herself, and she had to go and claim benefits. Before this, she had a support from her partner who was in full-time employment, bringing in good wages, but because of the sudden change of circumstances, they ended up going to food banks, not having enough money to pay towards their energy bills, and also not having enough money to buy any snacks. And also children used to go to different clubs, and now she's unable to afford to pay for clubs her children used to go to. So when we spoke to her, you could literally hear children at the background asking for snacks, and she was really upset because she can't do that.
Wow.
And her situation is exacerbated by benefit cap as well, because benefit cap means that your benefit or the amount of benefits you can claim is capped at certain level. So the amount can vary if you live in London or if you live in outside of London. And because she's mother of 8, she would get certain contributions towards the money, towards her children as well. So she would get housing benefit, but all the contributions would be like a little bit higher. But because of the benefit cap, she's left with approximately between £300 to £400 a month to pay bills and to buy food, and it's not enough to pay towards your energy bills. I can imagine just a food bill would be around £400 for such a large family.
Easily, yeah. Listen, let's play some music. Let's come back and pick up on this, but we do have to put a track in here. We'll be back. We'll hear more from Jaroslava right after this. Jaroslava, let's pick up on that story that you were telling us before that track about a real person with a fictitious name. Let's make sure that was anonymous. The knock-on effects for children, because the children are impacted a lot by parents suddenly encountering those financial difficulties, aren't they? But that can go on for a lifetime, really, can't it? It can have really long-reaching effects.
Yes, you're right. We looked at a lot of secondary research and tried to find out how those children can be impacted and what are the long-term outcomes. And unfortunately, everything sounded really negative. So it means if children live in poverty for a long period of time, they are more likely to have worsened health outcomes. So it means they will create more pressure on NHS services and any local support. Then they're more likely to have worsened educational outcomes. So they may have special needs at school, and then they will need support from different assistants or having putting more pressures on teachers to support them as well. And then they're more likely to live in poverty for the rest of their life. So they will more rely on the benefit security system or social security system, then they're more likely to live in social housing. They are more likely to experience financial struggles because their parents will not have enough time to give them the financial capability skills because they will be worried about, surviving. And then they can be also impacted by other influence as well, like being in wartime company as well.
So it's not just the thing I'm thinking about. It's not just a statistic that people are, X number of people are affected by X policy. Something that Father Sam Philpott once said to me in another meeting that I was in with him was looking at loads of statistics about child poverty. So look, can we get these statistics? Child poverty is that little girl who's clinging to the railings outside school, hasn't got any friends. It's November, she's not wearing a coat. That's what it is. That's the humanity and the reality of it. That has stayed with me. And that's why I wanted to ask you the story, because I think the stories engage people and help us to understand what's going on more than statistics. Although, as a researcher, you're going to be really keen on statistics, obviously.
I am. And we looked at the ONS statistics about people in Plymouth and surrounding areas, so it can go somewhere. So shall we say Plymouth postcodes? So it goes to South Hams, it goes down to Cornwall, but there are approximately 4,000 families impacted by 2-child limit, which seems to be quite a lot.
That is a lot of families. So that's a lot of people, a lot of children at least, well, more than 8,000 children has to be by definition. So that's
Yeah.
a lot of people being impacted. If people want to find out how am I impacted, what can I do, is there help? I know you haven't got the advice, but you can signpost people, can't you?
Yes, so I would advise people, if they want to know whether they're claiming right benefits, whether they have been impacted by any benefit caps, or whether they're impacted by the two-child limit policy, they can phone our helpline, which is 0808 278 7910. They can also go to our Citizens Advice Plymouth website. So we have a benefits calculator, and the calculator can tell you more about your entitlement. And also you could come to one of our outreach sessions across the city and talk to our advisors who can run a benefit check for you. If you would like to find out more about our outreach work, where you can find our advisors, you can go to our Citizens Advice Plymouth website and search under the events. So we do have events calendar, where we will tell you where we are, what's the day and what's the time. So the calendar has been updated up until the end of this year.
That's good. So you're out and about in the city, different locations, and you can find out all about that on the website, Citizens Advice. Look out for Citizens Advice Plymouth, put that in your favourite search engine and look at the events calendar. Jaroslava, let's move on, something similar but not quite the same thing, winter fuel payments, because it's another benefit issue that people get confused about.
Yeah.
How many people are eligible in Plymouth that aren't claiming? Have you got any idea? Or nationally?
I don't have the exact number. So it's going to come in, it's in like 700,000 people, I think, across the country. So it means like if everyone claims it, it's going to cost the government more than it would cost the winter fuel payment.
Yeah.
But I think it's good to have the money you're entitled to. And they will look. So often people feel like if they claim like state pension, they are not entitled to any other benefits, but it's not true. So I would just encourage people to come to us or any other advice organization, or you can run your benefit check online. So the different calculators, you can use one on our website or use other calculators, and they can tell you whether you are entitled to pension credit or any other benefits. And it can help you to maximize your budget. So it means if you would apply for pension credit at the moment, you still could be entitled for the winter fuel payment. And also with pension credit, it could be backdated for a couple of months. I think like it's somewhere between 2 to 3 months. So you could get some money back. It can be backdated for 10 years if you've not been claiming for 10 years, but you could get at least 2 months back.
Very good. Okay, so we'll take a break for some music and back for some more on scams after this with Jaroslava. We're talking with Jaroslava Hurtikova from Citizens Advice. Jaroslava, we did talk about the two-child limit earlier in the interview, and I think I rushed you through that a little bit because there's a couple of things that, one thing particularly, you didn't get a chance to cover off. So here's your chance, because there's more information for people about the two-child limit that you wanted to share.
Yes. So with the two-child limit, we would like to work with Plymouth Public to find out whether there are any people who have been impacted and how the policy has impacted them and their families. So through the research with Plymouth University, we would like to talk to professionals who have supported families impacted by the two-child limit policy. So they can contact us. We do have a form which is on our website. It's under the news section, so you can apply through there. Or you can, if you are a parent with multiple children and you are struggling with your finances, have been impacted by this policy, we would like to talk to you as well and get your views, how the policy is working, what could be changed, and how it impacts you and your family. And we are offering £20 in shopping vouchers as thanks for participating in the research. So if you are interested, just head to our website and just complete a short form, and someone from our team will get in touch and we will arrange an interview with you.
Very good. Okay, well, I'm glad we've covered that off. That could be really useful. And I guess getting that information from the ground and from the people it's impacting, super important. And you mentioned as well professionals who've been working with people, getting that
Yes.
feedback from them. So I guess the joys of being a researcher. Hey, that's you cover that stuff off so well. Let's come back to scams. We mentioned that we'd be looking at scams. Scams have become increasingly sophisticated over the years, and every extra bit of technology and communication device that we get seems to then open us up to new scams. What's the current trends? What things are happening at the moment?
Oh, there's a lot happening because those scammers are so clever and they always try to tackle you in a very different way. And they just go with the most current things that are impacting people. So recently we had some reports of the DWP scam where people were asked to download a Universal Credit app. But the Universal Credit app does not exist. So if you were asked to download Universal Credit app, please be cautious. Please report it to fraud action and delete all the information that is in the app. Another scam that came to us last week was a DWP scam about winter fuel payments. So in this case, people were getting text messages telling them that they could be entitled to a certain amount of money. And then there was a case of urgency. This is a limited offer. Please click on this link in the text. So if you received any similar text, please don't click on the link. I confirmed with the DWP that this is not a genuine text and you should report this scam, or we can support you with reporting it if you come through Citizens Advice Services.
Okay. What are the giveaways? Because I've got a 94-year-old mother-in-law who's formidable. She saw off 2 burglars in the middle of the night in her home 4 years ago. So she was 90, so she's pretty on it. But with technology, they're so sophisticated. What would you say are the telltale giveaways that, oh, hang on, this may be a scam?
I would say, like, if you feel like something is too good to be true, or someone is pushing you into do something very quickly.
That urgency thing is a real thing.
That urgency, yeah. I would always ask you to pause. Just pause, think, talk to someone about, oh, I received this, is this correct? People can help you to search whether the request is genuine or not. If you just receive something out of blue, you don't know who it is, it may not be genuine as well. And scammers may want to kind of trick you into revealing your personal details or just sending them money. So don't do it. Always talk to, if someone asks you to transfer money, always talk to your bank, whether if it's genuine, if something is happening with your bank account. Then if there's usually a message about the urgency or something is going to happen if you're not going to act in time, then it means that it's usually not genuine, and therefore you should question it. If the message had too many attachments or links, I would always advise to hover over the link and see whether it's going to just bring you to the same email address. If not, it could be a phishing email. So then it can track different cookies and just follow your passwords. And always just seek help if you're unsure about what has happened. Just please talk to Citizens Advice or someone you know about what is happening. Don't suffer in silence. And scams can happen to anyone. I think that's the most important message.